Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. The drama in women's boxing, I think it's reaching a boiling point. 100%. Franchon Crews-Dezurn revealed she's still dealing with the knee and ankle soreness following her fight with Claressa Shields. And many fans are now questioning whether Claressa truly got the credit or that she deserved for that win, because now we're knowing, which we all felt, like Franchon wasn't 100% inside that fight. Some fans even joke that Claressa must have casted a voodoo spell on Franchon, but the bigger conversation is whether Franchon should have fought injured in the first place. Meanwhile, Jake Paul and Most Valuable Promotions are quietly building a powerhouse roster of disciplined, media-friendly women like Amanda Serrano, Baumgardner, Shadasia Green, Caroline Dubois, amongst others, and appearing to distance themselves from the drama surrounding Claressa Shields, which makes sense. So is MVP protecting the brand of women's boxing? Is Claressa Shields hurting her own legacy despite being one of the most talented fighters ever? And why do comparisons to Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson completely miss the mark? We also break down this Fire Inside, which I don't know if y'all saw it. I saw the Fire Inside yesterday. And I think it kind of explains why Claressa behaves the way she does. Like, if you haven't seen that movie, watch the movie. To be honest with you, I'm glad that I didn't watch the movie until yesterday. If I would have watched the movie before, and then, like, when it first came out, and then I sat back observing how things are playing out with Claressa Shields, I don't know if I would have quite understood the movie when I initially watched it. But now that I'm watching it, now, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So let's talk about it, man. Boxing, politics, personalities, promotion, and really about the future of women's boxing, which I think MVP has it locked down. Now, as far as Franchon, she's still recovering from those injuries, people. She recently revealed she still has soreness in that knee and ankle, but she's been able to start a little light jog. So just wonder about this revelation. It just sparked to me a lot of debate about whether she entered the fight less than 100% physically. You know what I'm saying? If she's just not able to get back to a bit of a light jog, that means when she got in that ring, she wasn't 100%. Now, does this mean she would have won the fight if she would have been 100%? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is we need to at least acknowledge that Franchon fought injured. And understand this, because I'm not trying to alibi for Franchon. Fighters compete injured all the time in boxing, men and women. But when injuries are confirmed afterward, it changes how fans analyze the performance. So I'm sitting back looking now and I'm saying, okay, maybe, maybe it could have been a little, maybe more competitive. I don't know. But I think Claressa was going to beat her anyway. That's just me being honest. Now, one thing about Franchon, she's tough. And her reputation is built on that. Being tough, being a warrior. That's just her mentality. But fighting injured always introduces questions, man. So I just had to sit here and just ask, was the performance compromised? Could the fight have looked different at full health? And that's why I'm sitting here kind of going back and forth. But I'm also looking at Claressa's performance. And Claressa just had the stamina. She was explosive. She had the combination punching. She was using angles, going to the body, coming up top with the hook, shooting the right hand, looping the right hand. Claressa was doing a lot of things in there. Even fighting off the back foot, off the ropes, punching in between Franchon's wide shots. Claressa was getting to the mark. So it just makes it hard for me to believe that Franchon with, somebody else's legs and ankles would have performed differently. I'm just being real. But forget all that shit. Who's wrong? So the argument against Franchon, fighters are responsible for making the decision to fight. If you step in the ring, the assumption is you're physically ready. If an injury is serious enough to affect performance, the responsible move is postponing the fight. Some fans feel mentioning injuries after sounds like an excuse. Now, I'm going to say this. Franchon did fall hard. She was injured. We saw what happened. You know what I'm saying? We all saw it. The video's there. Now, as far as her going forward in a fight, instead of postponing it, I also understand. You know, you train for 12 weeks. You get there, you get a little bit of an injury the day before. Now it's like, okay, do I postpone it? Which you're not going to get. She wouldn't have got the opportunity again. And then you forfeit your fight purse. Or you just go and do like she did. You just tape it up, ice it down, and just come in the ring and fight. Win, lose, draw. You get paid. Got a family to take care of. And it's all good. So for people saying it's an excuse, I don't think, matter of fact, let me quit lying. I do think I heard Franchon in a couple of interviews say that if what transpired Saturday at the weigh-in, if it did not take place, the fight would have been different. Now, I can't remember if she said she would have beat Claressa, but I do know she feels like the fight would have been different. But the bottom line is, some people think Franchon's wrong. Some people think she's right. I'm kind of right there in the middle. Because, you know, look, aside from this boxing talk bullshit, I'm a guy, I'm 50, I have a family, and I understand, man, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make sure that you're getting paid. And for these fighters, you got to understand, they fight today, they get paid. Tomorrow, they're unemployed. You guys realize that any active fighter who doesn't have a fight lined up, they're unemployed. So just digest that. Mull over that. So Franchon right now, today, Franchon's unemployed. Claressa's unemployed. Anyone who's not inside the ring fighting right now, I mean, like in round 2 and 3, they're employed because they're in a fight. But once that fight is over, they get their check, cool, they happy, but then they're unemployed until the next fight. Now, the argument against Claressa. Well, everybody argues against Claressa, you know, and I understand, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? You got to be fair to the GOAT. Critics say Claressa celebrated the win as if she conquered a fully healthy opponent. Some felt the victory lap was overly dramatic. I mean, I do. And critics say she presented it as if she defeated an unstoppable monster. So the optics created backlash amongst fans who felt the win was being exaggerated. Now, as far as Claressa, look, she did what she was supposed to do. It's not, look, like Silk the Shocker, it ain't my fault. It's not Claressa's fault that Franchon chose to get in that ring and fight. Now, some want to blame Claressa for the brouhaha that took place. I don't know. But what I will say is the victory lap to me was overly dramatic. Is Franchon an unstoppable monster? Yes. Did Claressa defeat the unstoppable monster? Yes. Does she deserve respect for that? I mean, yes. But I mean, she fought her how many times already? And I really felt this was going to be the one. I really did. I said, man, Franchon, a 12-week training camp, the way she fights, Claressa she gonna smother Claressa, put her on the ropes, not give Claressa the space to get her shots off. Franchon's gonna grind her down. If her stamina can hold up, Franchon can do that from the first second of the first round to the last second of the last round. We got something special. But that's not what ended up happening, and we all saw. Now, I will tell you this. I am very, very concerned when it comes to Franchon Crews-Dezurn, because we did have a nurse practitioner call in, and she said with Franchon, because she looked so different from the weigh-in to fight night, where a lot of us are sitting here looking and we're like, ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, the woman who walked to that ring, that is not the same person who was at the weigh-in. Because at the weigh-in, you look at her face, was kind of chiseled. Her body looked streamlined. But when she came to the ring, again, she looked really heavy, bloated, and out of shape. Her face, everything. And even I'm sitting there like, what? So a nurse practitioner called in and she said that Franchon had high blood, because she said in her educated opinion, Franchon looked like she had high blood pressure and excessive water retention. And that's what drove the bloating and had her looking that way. Now, a lot of us who don't have that medical background, we're kind of like, we're not really buying that. Because still, it's just the appearance, man. It's just two different people. And I understand people rehydrating, looking big and strong, but I mean, I don't know. I still don't know. But one thing's for sure, the nurse practitioner also said, and she wasn't being funny. You know, I make jokes on my channel. You know, I have fun with my content. I'm always making jokes. But she said that she believed Claressa also casted a voodoo, put a spell, put some voodoo on Franchon. Now listen, hold your horses and let's not take it to the stupid. Said Franchon looked cursed in the ring, like Claressa put some of that dark energy, the voodoo on her. And I even asked her, I said, you saying you think Claressa put voodoo on Franchon? She was like, yeah. I said, goddamn. So I make jokes about it, but she was serious. So I guess that's the question to you all. Did Claressa put the voodoo on Franchon? Because she did put the bing bings on her. But it just lets you know how fans' narratives evolve quickly in combat sports and no hood champion. I got to highlight that one, boy, because that had me cracking up. Now, anyway, man, so that's what's happening with Claressa and Franchon now. Right now, Claressa is doing whatever she's doing. I'm sure she's with pat, pat, poof, pat, brrr. Think they vacationing or something. But MVP Promotions, you can see that Jake Paul and Alycia and all the decision makers behind that company, they're trying to steer their women far away from the drama. Because they become one of the biggest developments in boxing, especially for women. MVP is taking a very specific approach to promoting women fighters. Now, I'm sitting back looking at this, and I'm like, yo, this strategy is including a couple things here. Branding fighters professionally, media training, brands partnership, social media discipline, positive representation of women's boxing. You can sit back and look and see that that's what they're doing. And I'll be honest with you, the women are looking visionary and looking transcendent. The women are looking like true consummate professionals, athletes, discipline. And I'm going to tell you, it's not that hard to look that way when you have Claressa Shields over here running up and down, biting people on and off social media. So these women out here look like superstars. They look beautiful. They look professional. But that's what happens when you have a strategy of branding fighters professionally, making sure they get media training and understand, hey, this is the direction we're trying to go as a company. You guys are part of this company, and this is what we need y'all to do. We need y'all to own this. Talking about brand partnerships, social media discipline, and how they want to represent women's boxing. Look, they're on ESPN now, folks. The whole world going to be watching them. There ain't no Zeus Network bullshit. And I ain't knocking Zeus Network. I'm sure they're making money hand over fist over there. But there's loud nice and there's nice. Zeus Network is that kind of loud nice. You want all the drama and craziness and all that, you enjoy that, that's nice to you. That's loud nice. But you want the nice, you go the direction Jake Paul's taking his woman. And let me tell you something, 10 times out of 10, nice prevails, nice has longevity. And nice makes all the money, and nice gets all the endorsement deals and big time partnerships. So you make a choice on where you want to go. I'd rather be with nice. Not over there. Pat, 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 pat. Zeus Network. Man, please. Nope. And just a few fighters in the system. There's a lot of them. There are a lot. And you got like 43 or something. But you know some of the big names: Shadasia Green, Baumgardner, Serrano, Caroline DeBar. You know, there's a bunch of women over there, man. It's not even gonna try to read off the damn list. But I'm just telling you that all of their fighters are being promoted as disciplined, media-friendly, brand-safe. And I 100% believe if one of them were to come out here and start chirping up like Claressa Shields does, B-word, N-word, and all the other horrible things that she says on social media. And look, people are human. They're allowed to speak how they want. Their choice. But then there are the consequences. Because you're going to come off as not disciplined, not media-friendly, not brand-safe. So you can keep going the loud, nice, right? The loud, nice route. Let's see how far that takes you. Now, I do think MVP is sending some quiet messages. Without directly naming anyone, many observers believe MVP is signaling something very clear. They want their women fighters to represent the sport positively, without constant public drama. This is where comparisons to the GOAT Claressa Shields begins. Now, Jake Paul's subtle shade. He's posted several tweets about professionalism, discipline, fighters representing the sport correctly. He never mentions Claressa Shields directly, but fans connect the dots. The timing of these posts came during several online controversies involving Claressa Shields and also the big press conference announcing the ESPN deal and highlighting the female fighters on MVP promotions. Even some of the fighters are throwing shade. Baumgardner, Serrano, they posted messages emphasizing how to represent the sport, the respect for the sport, professionalism, not needing a bunch of makeup and not being caught up in a bunch of drama, not needing to expose a whole bunch of skin. Now, they're not saying any names, but I'll just say this. We know where them shots are being fired. And we know that the message appears to reinforce the culture that MVP is building. And I think that's outstanding. Because there's a real problem with Claressa Shields, with her being one of the faces of boxing. Now, the face of boxing is Layla Ali. But Claressa is one of the faces of boxing. Alycia Baumgardner, Serrano, Taylor, Cameron, Green. And the list goes on, right? There are multiple faces of women's boxing, but the face of women's boxing is Layla Ali. And that's not changing. But you can see there is one name that they're trying to push that direction. And it's not a competition thing with Layla Ali at all, but you can tell that they're trying to push this one, and I think it's Baumgardner. They're trying to push her to go on to become the face of women's boxing of this era. But they're trying to push all their female boxers to be the face of women boxing in their own way. But you can see Baumgardner is the one. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now look, when it comes to Claressa Shields, the GOAT. Man, please. Hood champion here talking about me again. Fuck him, man. Everybody talking about me. Everybody talking about what? If you don't like me, don't watch my video. Don't watch me. Why are you talking about me? You a protector. Protect me, protect me. Norton anti-papoose virus protection. Protect me. Take it easy. It's all love, man. We all know Claressa's an incredible athlete, especially after watching. I already knew it, but watching that Fire Inside movie yesterday, I said, okay, very interesting movie. People, if you haven't seen it, go see it. And I ain't here to promote nothing. I'm just telling you, if you haven't seen it, you probably should go watch it. It's not full of a bunch of drama and ghetto shit and nastiness. Nah, it's not. The movie was actually done pretty damn cleanly, man, and professionally, and I don't expect a bunch of drama. It's not like that. It is not like that. It's pretty damn good movie. But when we talk about Claressa Shields, we all know Claressa Shields is an incredible athlete. We know about the achievements because she tells us every time she gets in front of the camera. Multiple undisputed championship, 2-time gold medalist, dominated opponents across divisions, 5 weight divisions, So many times undisputed. Man, please, you bums. I'm the great. I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. It's Muhammad Ali, and then there's me. Yeah, there's me, Coco. Me, Coco. I'm Coco for Coco, but me, Coco, Coco, me, Coco. But being the face of a sport requires more than dominance. It requires likability. We had somebody calling the other night trying to tell me that it's all about drama. You need to have drama and controversy. Of course, I didn't agree with the cat. But, you know, we're not supposed to always agree. But we had a little dialogue on the live. Most people were on there, they heard it, and most people just 100% disagree with him. Because I'm like, you got to be likable and marketable, man. But we just didn't agree. Some people are suggesting that was Claressa Shields' brother. I don't know. He did speak in the same speech pattern as Claressa Shields. The exactly same speech pattern. Because I went back and listened to his part again. I'm like, damn, this guy talks just like Claressa Shields. So it's either she had a voice modifier on or that was someone, a sibling. Because it spoke the exact same. And I do believe that was her brother. Or I believe she had a voice modifier on. But the bottom line is, being the face of the sport requires more than dominance. You got to be likable. You got to have some brand partnerships, mainstream appeal, and media cooperation. And, you know, does she get that? Does she have that? You know what I'm saying? So you tell me in the comments what you think. Now, as far as the Floyd Mayweather comparison, Claressa and her team often compare her to Floyd Mayweather. This shit about her and Floyd, stop. Hammer time. Look, her and Floyd Mayweather, there's no damn comparison. You know what I'm saying? That comparison has significant flaws. Stop. Just because he's from Michigan, she's from Michigan, they're nothing alike. Floyd understood entertainment marketing. Even as a villain, he was charismatic, entertaining, strategic. Fans paid to watch Floyd because they loved him or they loved to hate him. Either way, they watched Floyd Mayweather. Claressa is not in that boat yet, as she's not charismatic, she's not entertaining, she's not strategic. She's just a villain. She's offensive. Some describe her as being vulgar. The exact opposite of what you'd expect from somebody with 2 gold medals. The 1% of the United States athletes who go on and manage to get a gold medal. And she's the only boxer, male or female, from the United States to have earned 2 gold medals. So maybe she doesn't fully realize the responsibility she has as a 2-time gold medal Olympian from the United States. That's why she's just acting the way she's acting and being a villain without charisma, without being entertaining, and without being strategic, just being offensive. But now, with Mike Tyson, because I heard somebody say, Claressa's like Mike Tyson. She got that appeal. She got that intimidation. Stop it. Claressa ain't like no Mike Tyson. She's not like Floyd Mayweather. Mike Tyson, you know what? If you want to compare Shadasia Green to Mike Tyson and Wolf to Mike Tyson, I mean, then I can entertain that. But Claressa Shields, when you think Mike Tyson, what do you think? You think knockout. When you think Claressa Shields, what do you think? Coochie cool. You think tickle. You think chicken peck. That's what you think. She's not knocking anybody out. With Mike Tyson, you already know. Somebody getting knocked out. With Claressa, you already know. Coochie cool. Mike Tyson's appeal came from that terrifying knockout power. Unpredictable personality, historic dominance. Mike Tyson was a 5'11" powerhouse. Destroying guys. He destroyed them before he even got in the ring. He had a mystique that transcended controversy. Now, what Claressa is missing, yeah, she dominates opponents. Yes, she does. You got to give her credit for that. But a lot of critics are going to sit back and say she struggled with public perception, brand messaging, fan engagement. Instead of a playful, villainy, many interactions feel hostile or defensive. And that's just the truth with Claressa. Now, if you go watch the movie, you'll understand why she's that way. Go watch the movie. I totally understand why she's that way. She was that way as a child. Cussing, carrying on, being confrontational, not listening. But I'm just telling you, man, instead of being playful and villainy, you want to be hostile and defensive? That difference matters in sports marketing. But again, it's going to come back and tell you that Fire Inside movie is important. If you're trying to understand Claressa Shields, or if you're just curious, go watch that movie. That film explored her upbringing in Flint, her struggles, the environment that she survived, and it also explains why she carries such a combative mindset. That movie revealed a lot of things to me. And remember, I'm not saying she's right for nothing. But I do think there's some survival instincts there, some emotional armor there, some relentless competitiveness there, and also someone who's vulnerable and wants to be loved. So those qualities helped her become a champion, but it's also made her vulnerable, and they also contribute to some of the conflicts seen in her public life right now. So for me, when people watch The Fire Inside, I think some realize Claressa's personality is not an act. It's a product of her environment, her life experiences, her fight mentality. You know what I mean? The girl she's been through a lot, but ain't no excuses. And anyone who's gonna fight her should not watch the movie, because you wanna if you dislike her, hate her ass. But don't watch that movie, because then she's gonna become human to you. Don't do that. Don't do that. You need to stay an animal and a beast, and continue to look at her as an animal and a beast. Because if you watch that movie, you may soften up a little bit. But let's move on beyond all that, all right? The future of women's boxing. Women's boxing is entering a new era. Promotions like MVP are investing heavily in marketing, storytelling, fighter branding. They want fighters who can sell fights, represent sponsors, grow the sport. So the big question moving forward, in my opinion, is, can Claressa Shields adjust her approach to become the mainstream face of the sport? I doubt it. After watching that movie, she ain't changing nothing, people. And with that team she has around her, she ain't changing nothing. They all out here, in my opinion, looking to pick low-hanging fruit. They're not looking to do the things that MVP is doing. MVP is up, and away. Superman. Claressa Shields says, don't underestimate the power of the handicap. Blank man. Handyman. Blank man was Johnny Five. When the robot died and shit. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the future. But I just think promotions are going to continue to build around fighters who are easy to market. And Claressa is not that. That being said, y'all, keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Yo, I'm in the breeze.